Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. I am continuing with the Paris Beaufont books by Sarah Noffke and Michael Anderle. I'm obsessed with this universe. Absolutely obsessed with it. And yeah, so this is book 7 to 9 in the first part of the Inscrutable Paris Beaufont. After this, there's a few short stories that look at Lunis the dragon, Faraday the squirrel, and Plato the lynx. So I'm looking forward to reading the short stories. So book 7 is The Thoughtful Rebel, book 8 is The Holistic Creator, and book 9 is The Unexpected Peacekeeper. So, I thought that Agent Ruby wasn't quite finished, but it turns out he was a catalyst for something else. With the agency and finding out about the agents that weren't happy with St. Valentine and everything that was going on, and the fact that Paris as half magician, half fairy was allowed into the Fairy Godmother College, and you got all these ones who were on about like pure breeds and stuff, like they only wanted full fairies to be part of the college. Yeah, it turns out that where I thought that Agent Ruby had been pissed off enough to come back, I wasn't quite right there. It twisted on me and it got me, sucked me in again, and yeah, so it was a catalyst for 3 more baddies. It seems that Agent Ruby was just planting the seed of the fact that people weren't happy, and yeah, being the catalyst for those other 3 people who were going to come in saying that they weren't happy. So, over the past 3 books, we have seen more to it, in the sense that we are now seeing parts of the Tooth Fairy College and the unsettlement there, the fact that the Tooth Fairy College and the Fairy Godmother College don't get along and haven't done for a very long time, and that Godmother Willow, who is head teacher of the Fairy Godmother College, and seeing her grievances with the Tooth Fairy College and the leader of the Tooth Fairy College, and how that fight started, which leads on to the 3 baddies, which is students at the Tooth Fairy College who are angry. They want to take on Paris, basically. Like, they're not happy at the fact that Paris is a student at the Godmother College and they're not, because the Tooth Fairy College does allow magicians and other races to study there, but their college is in ruins and the source of their magic is teeth, and it goes into a well where it's not purified, and so actually it's a harness for darker magic, which is part of how the rift happened. But yeah, seeing this backstory for the Tooth Fairy is kind of hilarious. In my family, we had a Tooth Fairy in training. Yeah, sometimes she'd take the tooth and not leave any money, sometimes she'd leave the tooth and the money, sometimes just nothing happened at all. So yeah, we joked in my family that we had a Tooth Fairy in training, and that story has been passed on to my niece, so now she's wondering if she's going to have a Tooth Fairy in training. We're just like, I'm sure that training is better than it was when me and my sister were kids. But yeah, so seeing this backstory for the Tooth Fairies and seeing how children's teeth is a harness for bad magic, it's kind of fascinating to see that idea. I'd love to sit down with Sarah Noffke and Michael Anderle and figure out how they do it together. The thing is, in the author notes, Sarah Noffke talks about how quickly she churns these books out, like writing a book in like 2 weeks or something, or a month, and I'm just like, how? But it's obvious that she's just so immersed in that world. You know, she's got her partner, the Scotsman, who she talks about in the author notes, and she talks about her daughter Lydia and how Lydia inspired Sophia, and I'm just like, how does she have a life? When she writes that much, how does she have a life? Anyway, that's tangent about the author. But yeah, I'd love to sit them both down and find out about how they work together, because it's never really explicitly stated in the author notes how they work together, because it's obvious that she writes most of it. I'm not sure if Michael is just an editor or if he helps to kind of like landscape the world. But yeah, these past 3 books, we've got the new baddies, as it were, the 3 students at the Tooth College who obviously aren't happy that they didn't get in on their own merit to the Fairy Godmother College, because it feels like the Tooth Fairy College is kind of rejects, and so it feels like they've got a grudge against the whole system, especially now that Paris is a student there, and the fact that now is the time when other races are being considered for the college. So you're seeing that side of it. One of them actually manages to become a student when the races are opened up. So they actually have a magician at the college when they open up the student body, and that student manages to convince a load of other students to call on Bloody Mary. It felt like reading like the Halloween episode almost with that book, because apparently like it's really difficult to summon Bloody Mary, but it has been done before. You need to have the exact right things, you need to have the right amount of people, you need to have certain props to be able to do it, and once she is out, basically you cannot leave the college, and if you look into a mirror that will bring her out to attack you. But Paris wasn't actually on site when Bloody Mary was called upon. Obviously you have to like say it 3 times into a mirror, but when she comes back, when Paris comes back, she realises that this new student, Zora, who isn't actually called Zora, that is just like a little alias so people don't realise who she actually is obviously not just targeting Paris, she's targeting all of them. And after getting the exact things right for summoning Bloody Mary, she then goes and puts mirrors everywhere so that nobody can escape. Fortunately, you've got like the teachers who know the place like the back of their hands and can walk through pretty much blindfolded, and then Paris has her own little sidekick in Faraday the Squirrel, so he's able to talk her through. He actually creates his own reflective glasses, protect him from the mirrors basically, so he can't see the reflective surfaces, so he can't actually bring Bloody Mary through. But yeah, so Faraday is used to get Paris through the college while collecting things to be able to reverse the demon spirit hunting thing. But yeah, so that was fun to read about, having that little Halloween section with that. Oh, just dropped my phone. And then that leads on to looking at the actual war that happened and is happening between the Tooth Fairy College and the Fairy Godmother College, and the Seelie and the Unseelie, the Seelie Queen and the Unseelie King. And you realise that, as with any war, what is the cause of it? Love and hate, and that thin line between them. So, and then then you've also got Paris graduating, and she has this final project that she has to do, which is supposed to encourage love in the world. And her idea is a restaurant, like a farm-to-table restaurant. And so she puts this idea into motion. She is so busy going off all these missions, trying to help Godmother Willow and everything. I keep wanting to say Grandmother Willow, but it's like, that's Pocahontas. That is, it's Godmother Willow. So yeah, so she gets help from her entire family and her family's friends in getting her final project up. It's mainly about the money. It was like she had the idea, and then she gets people to help her bring that idea to life. Obviously, she does pretty well with it, even though she goes into internal doubt and she thinks that she's gone too big. But St. Valentine tells her, you know, obviously you were going to go big, you're a Beaufont, so just trust your instincts. But yeah, Paris has realised that the training was actually worth something, even if she doesn't actually want to be a fairy godmother. She kind of aims bigger, and I can see that leading into the next part of the series, because at the end of this one, spoiler alert, you find out that Paris doesn't want to be a godmother, and she actually wants to be an agent for the Fairy Godmother Agency, which is unheard of. Very similar to the idea that in the Sophia series, Sophia was the first female dragon rider. This is leading into the idea that Paris may be the first female agent for the FGA. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to work and how she's going to bring her expertise to that, and the feathers she's going to ruffle. She's going to ruffle some feathers, she sure is, especially because I don't even know how many are in the next one. Is it 9 again, I think? Yeah, so the next one is the extraordinary fixer, the ruthless negotiator, the practical maverick, the considerate terror, the savvy renegade, the careful revolutionary, the affectionate monster, the courageous believer, and the violent Valentine. That sounds like an epic ending. And it says that for the next one, the typical read time is 56 hours and 27 minutes. I did not know that it did that, so I'm going to have a look at the one for book 4. Yeah, so for the ones that I've just finished, it says the typical time to read is 51 hours and 2 minutes at 2,550 pages. I will say though, that is not entirely correct, because you do have the author's notes. Not everybody reads the author's notes. I kind of enjoyed learning about what inspired Sarah Noffke and Michael Anderle, the conversations they had back and forth with each other in the author's notes. And also this one also includes one of the short stories, which is in the bundle that I'm reading at the moment. So yeah, so it's a little bit less than that. So just to go through it one last time, this entire selection was The Unexplainable Fairy Godmother, The Mysterious Lost Child, Unsuspecting Trouble, The Shatterproof Magician, The Independent Fairy, Creative Matchmaker, and then these last three that I've just done, The Thoughtful Rebel, The Holistic Creator, and The Unexpected Peacekeeper. I've loved watching Paris really come into her own. At the beginning, you see her as kind of that rebel, but she's a rebel with a heart, because she only gets involved with things that kind of go against that moral compass, that moral compass. It's really hard to say. Moral compass. I can say it then. Yeah, so like she would have a go at the bullies, but that would also get her into trouble. So you have seen her come into her own and understanding that she still has that space to grow and learn from things, while at the same time staying true to herself, which is such a good thing for people to learn about. You don't have to change completely. It's about learning and understanding. In Paris's case, it's just remembering to think a little bit before reacting, which you see her really learning how to do. I love the sections in regards to like the magical forest, in the fact that the magical forest was destroyed and how Paris's magic brought it back to the point where it's essentially Paris. When she goes into the forest, when they're trying to find how the Tooth Fairies have kind of managed to get onto campus, because when the Tooth Fairy College and the Fairy Godmother College split up, essentially, even though they're in a bubble and protected by that bubble, when they started warring, it meant that they couldn't find each other, and so obviously somebody had to like figure it out. There's lots of accusations at the bully at the Fairy Godmother College, because you find out that her twin sister is one of the baddies from the Tooth Fairy College. So yeah, it's so good, it's so entertaining. I absolutely love this universe, and seeing Paris grow up. Each of the series has protagonists at different ages. In Liv, she was like mid-20s, for Sophia she was like 16, and then in this book Paris is in her early 20s. So, and also just seeing Paris reunited with her family, because obviously at the beginning of this series we found out that Liv and Stefan had been missing for 15 years, and Paris had no idea who she was. So it really is coming of age, because you find her figuring it all out, finding out what happened to her parents, saving her parents, and seeing the amount of people that were keeping her a secret to save her life. And she realises, after originally only having Uncle John of the Mortal Seven, and then realising the lives they had before her and everything they gave up to protect her. And now she's working on giving them their lives back and saying, you gave up so much for me. Part of my role now is to get her parents back into society after they were missing for 15 years, even though on their time it was only one day. And just, she wants to give them their lives back. The lives that they put on pause. It's great seeing how different the relationship each protagonist of the series has had with the people who have friends to everybody. Like Rudolph and the Lynx and the guys at the Crying Cat Bakery. So you've got Lee and Kat, and they all have slightly different relationships with them, but you know that these are like lifelong friends that will never actually betray them, even if they are completely insane. Because it's like when Paris is trying to get her final grade for this farm-to-table restaurant that she has the idea for, and her friends help her to create that to promote love. And when Lee and Kat turn up and she's just like, no. you cannot bring any weapons in here, I will not have you murdering anybody today. And then when Raimi and Rudolph turn up, and she's looking at Raimi and going, no, I can't have Raimi in here because he doesn't, he's going to die. And there's Raimi just there going, I don't die easily. And it's just like, well, technically you die and come back. We don't know how many lives you have at this point, but I'm not letting you risk dampening this party by dying. And so they send him back. And Raimi understands because he's just there going, yeah, I get it. I can't die when you're trying to promote love. And it's a really sweet story, the idea that, because obviously at the beginning you saw that the love-ometer was really low, and you've seen it just steadily increase with Paris's interference, and just seeing that she is a promoter of love, and whereas she doesn't want to be a fairy godmother and be the one going out and actually bring people together, she wants to be at the agency, she wants to be the one coming up with the ideas, she's got the brain for that, and so she's there going, that's what I want to do. And I feel like, especially as we're bringing in more magical races and we're allowing people to kind of work together, it makes sense to have a magician with the male fairies in the agency, because as a race, as described in the book, female fairies are more suited to that role, but she does think that ultimately you need to look at people's strengths, which is what the final grade is about anyway. Once they have been given their grades, once they have graduated, St. Valentine then allocates them to a role within the agency. And obviously for most graduates of the Fairy Godmother colleges, a fairy godmother, and they're told which department. Christine ends up in like a fashion department. Her final project was a boutique so that people can feel good in themselves, and that how that helps to promote love. So she's put into the fashion department, and so yeah, it's just great. You can tell I love it. It just makes me happy. Anyway, so I'm going to shut up now. The Unexplainable Fairy Godmother, The Inscrutable Paris Beaufont by Sarah Noffke and Michael Anderle. So yeah, next it's the short stories, Faraday, Lunis and Plato. And at the very beginning of that, which I've just started last night, you see them together at what we assume is Paris's restaurant, and they're all being served drinks. Just the idea of a squirrel, a lynx and a dragon sat together at a restaurant being served drinks, it's just hilarious to me. I love it so much. But yeah, so we're starting off with a story from the lynx and then into the other two. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting through those, and I'll share that on a series Sunday as part of a short story series Sunday. And then I will go into the Agent Beaufont series, which is Paris once she's graduated. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I have seen the number go up, subscriber-wise, mainly due to a short that I uploaded, which had a lot of reactions to it. My existential crisis as a massage therapist, I was just there going, I rub people with oil for a living. But yeah, so hello to the newbies if you are watching the book videos, or if you're just here for the shorts. Oh, did you hear that? That was my ankle clicking. But yeah, I will continue. I've got a little booklet. Everyone at work tells me that they love my little sketches, so I've got a little booklet of things that won't get me fired. I really have to think them through, so I'm not doing anything that might actually get me in trouble. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you on Wednesday for another book. Stay safe, everybody. Love you all. Bye!